All right. Hey, everybody. It's Jason. Hope you're all doing well. So we're at the point now where the majority of spring training, well, we're well underway for spring training. The majority or the heavy lifting's been done for most of the teams in terms of free agent signings and trades. There's still I'd say a couple of handfuls or maybe a few dozen players out there. No, most notably not Yasiel Puig, who will get picked up by somebody. But with that said, I think it's time to go over the 2020 MLB team power rankings. I'm going to go over top 10 teams. Now, there is a tie. I have a tie in 10th and 7th and 4th because there's a lot of good teams, okay? But you may see some surprises in the rankings, and, I'd love to know what you think about it. So, with that said, let's get to the ranking, okay? I'm going to work my way from the bottom to the top, obviously. There's a three-way tie for 10th, okay? Between San Diego, the Chicago Cubs, and surprisingly, the Houston Astros. I think the Astros are actually going to struggle a little bit this year. With Verlander, it's a little unpredictable right now. They just shut him down with some soreness in his tricep, so that may be an issue. But losing Garrett Cole and Will Harris I think it's going to hurt them later on. And I think they're going to get pounded all year with the cheating scandal. So, and I actually can see them missing the postseason. Although I can still see them winning 88 to 90 games, I could still see them missing the postseason. So that's a definite possibility. Also, with the Chicago Cubs, they're good. They still have a young nucleus and a lot of good players, quite a few superstars. And so I still see them, on the borderline playoff. And I do see San Diego making a significant jump upward, especially after adding Drew Pomeranz and kind of beefing up the team with a couple of trades as well, which I think are going to be very complimentary. So I can see San Diego on the outside cusp of making the postseason. So if you want to see some season predictions, look in the description down below, and I'll put in there for you. I did a video on that, and I'd love to know what you think there too. So, and if you're a baseball channel, by the way, and you enjoy videos like this, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification next to it. I put two new videos every week for your enjoyment. So I do hope that you watch them and enjoy them, and I appreciate your support. So. Back to it. Number 9. Actually, I have another tie. So, between the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Okay? St. Louis made a couple of moves, incremental moves, even though they lost Marcell Ozuna, which I think will hurt. They made a couple incremental trades, one with the Tampa Bay Rays for a pitcher, so I think that's going to come in handy. And they do have some pretty good Flaherty and quite a few of them other, aces and Goldschmidt. They have a good nucleus. So, and they're always a kind of a perennial playoff team. With regards to Arizona, they've made a couple of significant upgrades. I mean, they brought in, they traded for Starling Marte of the Pittsburgh Pirates. They also signed Madison Bumgarner, which I think is going to pay dividends. And I see them as an outside team. I see San Diego and Arizona going kind of not far behind the Dodgers. The Dodgers will be obviously one of the more dominant teams. But I see one of them potentially hitting a wild card spot in the National League. I can see that happening. So that's my number 9 tag. Number 8, another potential playoff team for me, the Philadelphia Phillies. With the moves that they've made this offseason, I definitely see them making a run for it. Zach Wheeler, Didi Gregorius, and I see, and a more diverse and a more balanced lineup and a stronger rotation. I can see them, bumping out the Nationals. I don't see anybody but the Braves winning the NL East. But that said, the Nationals can win 90 games and miss the postseason. The National League East is one of the divisions where I see, potentially a 90-win team, again, missing the postseason, and potentially 3 teams with 90 wins, or 4 teams significantly over 500. So, and I do see the Marlins actually improving quite a bit this year as well. So it's going to be a strong division. Number 7 is another tie between Oakland Athletics and the Cincinnati Reds. To me, I see the Oakland Athletics fighting for the division of the AL West. Cincinnati, they made a bunch of moves. They're essentially the Chicago White Sox of the National League. They've made several moves to get quite a bit better. Bringing with everything from Moustakas to who else did they bring in? I'm losing track of who they brought in, but anyway, they made quite a few moves. Moustakas is just one of them. And with that strong pitching rotation, and a much more diverse, balanced lineup, they're going to be fighting for the National League Central division, and I actually can see them. I can see them winning the division. So, number 6, the defending World Series champion, Washington Nationals. I see them getting knocked down a peg a little bit, but they're still the most dominant team, and they made up for losing Anthony Rendon by adding a bunch of depth pieces. They got Eric Thames, they got Starlin Castro. They added a bunch of role players, solid role players. So I think that's going to come in handy. They've also added Will Harris to bolster that bullpen and brought back Strasburg. And you have Strasburg, Corbin, and Scherzer. I mean, that's that's the best trio in baseball, in my opinion, in terms of starting pitching. So they're 6th. Number 5. Another good team, another really good up-and-coming team, Tampa Bay Rays. They kind of remind me of the Oakland Athletics. They're a team that does a lot, or they overperform with limited budgets. You know, they do a lot with a little. So, and they made a good trade, quite a few trades actually. Bringing in Hunter Renfroe and Padres, and making a trade with St. Louis Cardinals, and with that rotation that they already have and the young nucleus. They remind me of the Atlanta Braves, a young, dynamic team who's going to be really good for quite some time. So, and I see them, battling, for the American League East with the Yankees. So, number 4, we got another tie. My last tie between the Atlanta Braves and the Chicago White Sox, or the Cincinnati Reds of the American League. Atlanta, like I was just saying, an up-and-coming team. They added Cole Hamels, who's shut down right now with an injury, but they've also bolstered their team with Will Smith, and they made a couple other moves as well. And that young lineup, dynamic team, strong starting rotation, the youth there, they're going to be really good for some time. And I can see them, going for the win or winning the National League East. So, and on the other hand, the Chicago White Sox, I mean, they've made the biggest moves. They're my winner of the offseason. And I actually did a video about that, which I'll put down below too. Everything from Brandal to Encarnacion to Luis Robertson and Luis Robert, trading for Mazzara and bringing in Dallas Keuchel, and they brought in a reliever as well. I just don't, the name is skipping me right now, but they had the most complete offseason of any team. But it has to translate to results. So paper's one thing, results is another. But they're tied with the Atlanta for number 4 for me. Number 3, the Minnesota Twins. Okay, they also had a really good offseason as well, bolstering the rotation and the bullpen, and bringing in Josh Donaldson. I can't see them breaking the team home run record again, and I can't see them, battling with the Chicago White Sox. I think they're going to be the 2 teams gunning for the American League Central. I think both of them are going to be better than Cleveland, especially if Cleveland does an overhaul and trades Clevenger and Lindor. But they're number 3. I would look out for them. They're going to be a dangerous team. Number 2, the New York Yankees. I would have them at number 1, honestly, or tied for number 1. But with losing Luis Severino and the unpredictability of Stanton and Judge, it makes me a little nervous. They have the depth to overcome it. Their talent, their lineup's well rounded, and they won 103 games last year, and they added Garrett Cole. So it's pretty. They won 103 games last year without Garrett Cole and without Severino for the majority of the season too. And they had about 35 guys on the disabled list. So if they reduce that down to half of that this year, and Cole stays healthy, and the rest of the rotation stays healthy, I do see them making a mid-season addition, or maybe a low-key addition before the season starts, and maybe a big trade at the deadline for a starting pitcher. But right now, to me, they're number 2, which leaves the obvious favorite, the Los Angeles Dodgers, at number 1. With the moves that they've made, with that big trade for Mookie Betts and David Price, I think it puts them over the top. And I think they have perennial, MVP there, Rookie of the Year, and Gavin Lux. You got Cody Bellinger. You have a ridiculous lineup, and it's going to be more balanced. And I see them making a big trade deadline acquisition to kind of put them over the top. I would love to see the 2 of them in the World Series, but we'll see what happens. So this is my ranking. Let me know what you think. I did leave the Mets out. They're kind of right on the border here of number 11. Or they could be tied with one of these teams. So for the Mets fans, I apologize, but I think they're still a couple of pieces away. And losing Zach Wheeler, I think, is going to hurt a little bit. So, But here's my list. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up. And again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification next to it so you don't miss any of my videos. And I got a bunch coming up. Okay, the next one you're not going to want to miss is going to be my 2020 MLB bold prediction. It's going to be 10 of them. Catch you next time.